And welcome to Whiskey Politics. I'm Dave Sussman, your host and purveyor at whiskeypolitics.net. You can find us on the brand new television network, America's Voice. Coming soon, we'll have some more information about that. And also you can hear us on your favorite podcast application of choice, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and also at ricochet.com. Delighted to be here at our Malibu studio for Whiskey Politics. It's a beautiful day, and I'm delighted to be sitting here with Mark Weinstein. Mark is the CEO and founder of MeWe, which is, and I just want to read this so I make sure I get it correct, the next-gen social network, no tracking, no ads, no BS. Well, with what is happening right now with congressional hearings, with Mark Zuckerberg in the last week or so, this is what people are talking about. And is there an alternative to Facebook? Here, Mark, we're going to talk about this today and many other things, so welcome.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. I really appreciate being on your show. It's fantastic to be here. And let's add one more thing to that little byline. Our members are not for sale. That's why you see the hashtag not for sale. No ads, no personal tracking, no BS, hashtag not for sale. Our members are not for sale. We don't sell them. We don't sell their data. You know, that's BS.
Well, that's some of the things that Mark Zuckerberg was talking about last week in front of D.C. in the congressional hearings. And I want to get into that. In fact, great detail getting into that. But tell us a little bit about yourself. Before we sat down, you said you grew up in New York. You came out west at college. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got to become one of, and if I remember correctly, one of the top 8 privacy experts in the United States, if not the world.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, for sure. The story is interesting because I'm actually one of the early inventors of social media. So what that means is in 1998, before Mark Zuckerberg was shaving, that I created one of the first social media companies in the world. We called them community portals then. And at that time, maybe Friendster was before us, but there were 4 companies in beta at the same time. Our company was called Supergroups. We had 2 divisions, superfamily.com and superfriends.com, that were most popular. And we were a PC Magazine Top 100 company 3 years in a row. And that's how I start. So I start as one of the early inventors, early founders of social media. Now, there were a handful of us doing it. We all had the idea at the same time. So, so that's where it all starts. Now, fast forward, we go through. That company gets sold in the early 2000s. As I said, we were an award-winning, great company. The idea of tracking people never crossed our minds. We never thought, oh, wow, this is a great thing. Now we can spy on people and track them everywhere. So it was a beautiful product, and we had to engineer with dial-up back then. So imagine we built a social network that used dial-up. That's how people access the web. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, I wrote some books on leadership. I did some high-tech consulting, and Mark Zuckerberg, MySpace comes along. And then Facebook comes along and eats MySpace's lunch. And then Mark Zuckerberg said something that changed my life. Mark Zuckerberg said in an interview, privacy is a social norm of the past. And I watched this interview and I was like, my jaw dropped. Like, how you have this metaphorical experience where your
Record
jaw
scratch moment.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. I'm like, what? How can that be? We are raised in America, in democracy around the world, that privacy is a fundamental part of the democratic experience. And it contrasts us with communist countries and with places where everybody, including your neighbors, is spying on you and reporting that into the system, into the police, into the government. And so I was astounded. I really was like, wait a minute. Something is fundamentally wrong here. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I decided to build a new company. I decided to build a new social network that would have all the great features that people love and none of this BS. Because I don't want my data out there. I don't want your data out there. We don't want our data out there in the world. So we started. We closed our first round of financing in 2013. Mm-hmm. We created a beta project. Our company is called Scruples. Mm-hmm. So it's a really beautiful name. It's a play on the word, to do the right thing. We just have the word group in the middle.
Right, so it's Scruples.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And so we ran a beta project under the Scruples brand. Uh-huh. And we got about 10,000 people to participate. And I hired some engineers, and as I said, we did our first funding, and I put $500,000. I killed my retirement account.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, and I didn't take a salary for 4 years. It's like, okay, we have to do this.
Right.
This is a mission. So, and I was on Fox News. In 2012, I was interviewed on Fox News the day before Facebook went public.
Yeah.
And I said on Fox News, I said, they're wrong. Privacy is important. Privacy is going to come back. So, it took a handful of years, but luckily that gave us time to, fund and build and run a beta project with our Scruples brand. And in 2016, we took it to South by Southwest, which is a very famous conference, in the world and in our industry in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And we were awarded Startup of the Year finalist for Innovative World Technology. And that's a huge award. And this was just great. We're like, wow, the world understands, that there is room for a social network that doesn't track you, that doesn't spy on you, that doesn't use facial recognition, that doesn't steal your data, that doesn't sell you down the river. So that's our big award, our first award. And then we went right back into engineering. This is interesting. We get this award, we announce MeWe, and then we keep engineering. We keep making it better. We don't hire a marketing team. We keep going. And now we've launched a sister division, MeWePro, for enterprise collaboration, because it also answers the question, well, wait a minute, you have a social network that's free, and we have a great revenue model inside MeWe, but also we have an enterprise division for corporations because we're such experts on communication technology and security and respect and privacy for people.
That is a lead-in to one of the questions that I'm going to have for you, and I actually posted up on MeWe. I'm a member of MeWe, just joined it a couple weeks ago and connected with some fascinating people on there. And one of the folks, and I'll just point him out right now, he's also a member over at Ricochet. I'm going to call him Spin, that's his pseudonym. He asks about the revenue model. Okay, if you're providing this for free and you're not allowing advertisers, see, typically what will happen is that for the folks that don't know, if I even think about a product, Facebook's going to know about it, and they're going to market to me next time I go on Facebook, correct?
Can I interrupt you for 1 second
If I type that on the screen or something, right?
We just need to stop there for 1 second.
Please.
Because actually, Facebook is doing research on figuring out how to capture your thoughts so that they can market to you better. So this sounds like sci-fi, but in reality, they have an initiative to do that. Keep going.
It's
Thank
crazy.
You. I just wanted to,
it's crazy scary. It really is. And just so that you know, I still have a foot at Facebook. I've got friends and family all over the world, and I want to keep contact with them, and many of them may not be ready to move over to another, but I think what you're doing is fantastic, and it is definitely needed. And I just want to say that. I don't want to be a cheerleader here, but I believe that it is necessary. So, just
and that's the experience of a lot of MeWe members.
Yeah.
Remember, today, most of us use more than one social platform.
Yes.
And I like to say Facebook is for your public life. That's where you're being, people have the facade. This is the great vacation I took. Here's my perfect child. Here are all these things. That's the facade of your life. MeWe is for your real life, where you really hunker down. It's the kitchen table. It's where you really communicate with your friends.
Well, it's the first new social media app that I've joined since probably 2009. I joined Facebook. I was dragged in kicking and screaming to Facebook. I got an email out of the blue in 2009. So-and-so, a college buddy of mine, has posted a picture. And go back to college. We didn't even have digital cameras back in the day. I'm thinking to myself, okay, fraternity, oh my God, I can't have something out there. I'm a business guy. I've got a family. What is that? And I go in, I figure I'm going to go in, check it out real briefly, and untag or whatever I needed to do, so it wasn't going to, and it actually turned out to be quite nice, and I started to see a lot of people I haven't seen in 30 years, and it was good. But unfortunately, it's evolved from that point, and I want to talk about that with you. But getting back to my question from Spin, Ken, what is the revenue model? How are you guys going to survive and grow if you don't accept advertisers, if you don't sell data?
I love it. Thank you, Spin, for asking that question,
Okay.
because this is truly my favorite question. Because we've been brainwashed. So I'm going to start so that people understand. We've been brainwashed to believe that you can't have a social network unless you exchange your data for the technology to communicate with your friends. And that is a completely blasphemous, absurd premise. We've been sold down the river that. We've been brainwashed by Google and Facebook, and companies like them.
Right.
It's not true. I mean, capitalism would never have worked if it needed to spy on people. That wasn't the premise. So the idea that they need to spy on you to make money, come on, give me a break. Can't I just provide you with a great communication technology experience, a great social network with all these great standard features so you can really have an awesome time? And maybe you want some optional features. Maybe you tell me what you want. You want a special app because you're a sports team. You want some cool emojis from some artists because you don't want to use the 1,800 emojis that are free. You want something that really has looks like your signature on it, so to speak. You want extra storage because we give 8 gigabytes for free, which is like 16,000 pictures. But you're a big video poster and you wouldn't mind paying $2.99 or $4.99 a month for a little extra, for 50 or 100 gigs. You love our regular chat. Our regular chat's phenomenal. It's encrypted from, your phone or your desktop up to our servers and back. But maybe you want a chat that doesn't even touch our servers. So you want a feature, this is just like WhatsApp or Signal. You want our secret chat, except WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, tracks everybody. It can't see what you're saying, because it's encrypted one-to-one encryption, but they know, and Facebook gets this, and they've been fined $122 million in Europe just 2 months ago for this. They track everything.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. I was going to actually bring that up here. We just saw this take place in Europe. Facebook is, 122 million even for Facebook is a lot of money. Why were they fined that? What happened?
So, unfortunately, it's actually not that much money for Facebook because it didn't stop them. This is a cost of doing business, breaking the rules. So Facebook bought WhatsApp for, roughly $19 billion a few years ago.
Right.
Okay. Now, Facebook and WhatsApp said publicly there's no data exchange between us. Facebook will never, ever steal or look at any data on WhatsApp's members. And that was such a blatant lie. Facebook said that to our Federal Trade Commission. Facebook said to the EU Commission on Privacy. Facebook said that to everybody. Now, Facebook lied. And I wrote about this a couple years ago in Europe, and then about a year and a half ago, Facebook actually changed their privacy policy and announced that they were actually grabbing data from WhatsApp and putting it into their data system, putting it into your permanent record, your data record on Facebook. Who you talk to, where you are when you talk to them, for how long you talk to them, what time it is when you talk to them, everything except the actual conversation. But all this data is really important because then you're not private anymore. They know who you're talking to, when you're talking to them, for how long, where you are. This is BS. So the EU slapped a huge fine on Facebook, $122 million. Did Facebook stop the practice? I don't think so. But this is why. They lied egregiously. And so WhatsApp, which is encrypted chat, the whole premise was super privacy is compromised because now they're owned by Facebook. So we have a WhatsApp feature inside our site called Secret Chat. If you want to chat, besides our standard chat, which is great, custom camera, disappearing content, create GIFs and memes, doodles, everything people love is in our chat. Live voice and video, it's all in our chat. If you also want the double ratchet encryption technology, one-to-one, phone-to-phone, doesn't touch our servers, great. Then Secret Chat, 99 cents a month, $5.99 a year. Our members understand that we don't make money selling your data. We don't mess your news feed up. Your news feed is your news feed in timeline order with your friends, the fan pages you're following, the groups you're in. There's nothing from us. And so we're a freemium model, and privacy will always be free. So that's a revenue model on MeWe. Also, we're going to launch Pages. I want to really make sure we give a good answer. So we're about to launch Pages on MeWe. We have great group technology, but a lot of businesses and fan people, famous people want Pages.
Yeah.
So we're going to launch Pages, $1.99 a month, $9.99 a year to have your own business page, your own fan page on MeWe.
Okay.
We've done some focus group testing on that. Nobody cares. They all want to support us, and they think $1.99 a month to have a great fan page, great. So, and then we will have a premium membership, completely optional. If you want all our optional features in one bundle, same thing, $1.99, $9.99. But you don't need any of it. You can have a great experience with MeWe, with everything free, and just love it. Just have a great time.
Love the model. Just for folks that are not familiar with MeWe, and I've been playing around with it now for a couple of weeks, and you do have unlimited groups, and the groups cover everything. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the politics of it all in just a moment, or the lack of politics, I should more or less
there's
say.
one more piece of the revenue model,
which
is MeWePro. We don't forget this. There's two divisions. So there's MeWe for consumers, and there's MeWePro for companies. So if you have a company, an enterprise, an organization, and you want to get away from email or get away from Slack, which is a clunky product, but it's very well known, then go to MeWePro. MeWePro, monthly recurring revenue for us per employee, less than $100 a year per team member for you, per employee, for the greatest communication technology in the world. And it gets you off of that email, which is really terrible for internal corporate communications. We've got everything you need, in a great collaboration tool with security like nobody else.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Well, just real quick question on that. What is Slack right now costing? So what are they charging?
Comparably equipped. So what we like to do is comparably equipped. We're 1/3 the price of Slack.
Okay.
Because MeWePro is fully featured.
Yeah.
Live voice, live video, encrypted chat, great group technology, great subgroup technology, white labeling. All these things that are optional in Slack are standard. Great calendar. Our calendar is built in, it's patent pending, all these things. And we're integrated with Google Docs and Office 365, if that's what your organization uses. And we're integrated with GCal, iCal, Outlook. So everything you need, it's all standard, it's all built in, comparably equipped, because Slack, everything's a plugin. MeWePro, let's say $7 a month. Slack, $18, $19 a month.
Right. So going back to the basic model, which is where I'm a member of right now, although I'm very interested in Pages.
Not even basic. This is our bread and butter. This is MeWe for the world.
I've found that there's multiple groups. There's political groups. There's athletic groups. There's entertainment. There's groups about books that you're reading. I find it really interesting that all of a sudden all of these people are coming over to this thing. Many of them are coming over from Facebook. There is an anti-Facebook sentiment that I'm starting to see a thread of online, and I've started to also see something that is I would say, I don't know if it's a groundswell or if it's just percolating right now, but there's some questions regarding you, the owner of MeWe. So let's talk about this. I want to address this fairly early in the interview here for people that are checking us out, that are learning about this from MeWe. But from what I understand, and I reposted in a letter that you put up a few weeks ago, which I thought was phenomenal, okay? There are a lot of rumors that many people are now pointing to Facebook as the source of these bizarre rumors regarding your politics, so to speak, and the privacy. Can we address this? Address the particular issues and what those rumors are and what the truth is.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about Facebook for a second, because for a couple of years, since we became Startup of the Year finalists at South by, Facebook, first of all, the first thing they did was when people talked about MeWe on Facebook, they would pop up a rumor that pop-up would say Facebook had just acquired MeWe. I mean, talk about BS. So we'd get screenshots of people showing us. They would start a conversation about MeWe. They get a pop-up from Facebook saying that they bought us. That's insane. So, Facebook's been doing that. Now there's a rumor on Facebook somehow that I'm like Mark Zuckerberg. And it's kind of ironic. The rumor on Facebook is I'm like Mark Zuckerberg, that we censor people for their politics, that we have a political bias, that all these things. I'm like, Facebook, I'm sorry, but they are a dirty player. It's like,
how so?
Well, I think it's a little dirty when you're telling people that because I got a message today from somebody who figured out how to reach me on MeWe, which is easy. You can just start a chat with me even if you don't know me, and I can look at it, and said, listen, I'm trying to get my friends over from Facebook, but they said Facebook bought you. So that rumor continues.
Yeah.
And it's Facebook perpetrating that rumor. So that's when I say they're a dirty player. I said, we're competitors because we're doing the right thing, but it's like typical Facebook. It's kind of like they try and undermine, they try and, this is dirty. So I just want to be clear. Mm-hmm. First of all, our site has no politics because social media shouldn't have politics. The groups that we've seen come over to MeWe, during the election, we had Bernie groups coming over to MeWe. They were like telling us they were getting censored on Facebook. I'm like, wait a minute, you're getting censored on Facebook? Whatever. We don't understand it. We had people talking about Monsanto coming over to MeWe because Facebook was censoring people who wanted to talk about whether Monsanto had integrity or not.
Right.
We had people, in the great conversational country about vaccines. Now, I don't care whether you're pro-vaccines or anti-vaccines. That's not my business. I don't care if you're for Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. That's none of my business. I mean, this is getting borderline kind of crazy that Facebook would be censoring these people. These are law-abiding, people who live in democracies, a lot of people in America who are just having the discourse of democracy, They're not breaking any laws, they're not breaking any rules, and yet they're being censored. So I want to be clear, that my politics are not part of, the MeWe experience, nor anybody's at MeWe. Mm-hmm. We don't have any censors who censor content based on political opinions. That's absurd to us.
Right.
MeWe is pure democracy. We're a great republic. There are great democracies around the world, and the whole purpose and point and the ambiance is discourse. We're not supposed to all agree. That would be a very boring life. But, it doesn't matter whether you're on the right or left or in the middle, whether you're conservative, Republican, a Democrat, independent, libertarian, or whatever label you put on yourself. Your religion doesn't matter. Your politics don't matter. Your medical conditions don't matter. None of these things matter at MeWe. What matters is that you're a law-abiding citizen and you follow our terms of service. It's that simple. We're not in the way. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's no logic to that.
One of the things that I found to be extremely chilling last week watching the Mark Zuckerberg congressional hearings, and I think this came from, maybe it was Ted Cruz, it could have been another, and that is what they consider as far as offense or making someone uncomfortable. And before you and I sat down, I said to you, people's perception is going to be based upon their own disposition. You can walk into Facebook and ask how many, by raise of hands, voted for Donald Trump out of that entire group of programmers. Will you get 1, 2, out of tens of thousands? So their disposition is going to be from a perspective that may be different from many other people that are on Facebook. And so what may cause discomfort for one person may not cause discomfort for another. Your goal with MeWe is to just stay out of that altogether, not to go in and say, obviously you're not going to have folks that are breaking the law on there. For example, if you have, just out of curiosity, if you have somebody that's promoting ISIS, or jihad, or a pedophile, what happens?
We get a report.
Okay.
So listen, we have very clear terms of service. So we have tens of thousands of open groups on MeWe that anybody can join.
Yeah.
And so that means we can be members too. So of the open groups, you may have joined a few open groups. I'm in like 100 of them.
Yeah.
Because I love them. We've got, like you said, hobbies. I'm in like cars and motorcycles.
Yeah.
I'm also in cooking groups, gardening groups, all kinds of things because it's so much fun. They're so active. They're so interesting. Great people from around the world are in there. So in those groups, anybody can be in them. So if we get a report, and there's a great reporting system, so we're really still a self-monitoring system.
Okay.
So if you report that you see a group that is, advocating, some terrible revolution like hate, like a war, a violence against people, well, that violates our terms. So we would look at pedophile. That's lawbreakers out.
Right.
And so if there would be something like a pedophile group, because I always say, you'll always hear me say this, Dave, MeWe's for the good guys. Mm-hmm. We're for the good guys. I didn't build a company to harbor criminals, to harbor, ISIS or terrorists. That's not what we're about. We're about common sense, common decency. We're about good people being able to enjoy a real conversation with the people that are either similar to us or different without being censored, without our data being sold, without being spied on, without a data packet about us that goes to the government and goes to marketers. None of the BS. So we get a report like that, our team will investigate, and if they break our terms or they're breaking the law, they're out. And we just ban them. You just don't belong at MeWe.
So if you take a look at that, and you've been an author and you've written about this, you're an extensive expert on and sought out as a speaker on these things. You're also on a steering committee for President Obama on privacy. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that happen, number one? And does this mean that you're politically affiliated with one party or another?
Oh, I love this. Thank you, because I really want to clear this up.
Okay.
Right? And I've written about this too, because I'm an American. And if any administration ever asks me to serve on a committee, I'm going to do it. That's my, really my obligation as a citizen of our great republic. Mm-hmm. So I don't really side with any. I'm really, I'll just say this. I'm really more libertarian, and I do believe in having a nice environment. So, but I think government needs to get out of the way. So, that circumstance, I got an email saying they were creating this committee to look at creating a national identity system. Now, can you imagine this? A national...
Just the words alone scare me. They give me the chills.
Right. So the worst thing that I could do, being responsible for, and being a leader in this movement of privacy, the worst thing I could do is say, oh, I don't agree with the president's politics, so I'm not going to join this committee. That would be absurd. I need to get on this committee, and I need to do everything I can to tell them that what they're doing is absurd. So that's what I did. I said, wow, thank you very much. It's a volunteer position. I'm not getting paid. I'd be happy to join as a steering committee member of this committee. And then you would have laughed. We need some flies on the wall in this committee, because it's mostly people who are trying to figure out how to get grants to develop a national identity system, talking about how we're going to create this great national identity system, but somehow it's going to be private. And I'm like going, WTF? This is absurd. A national identity system in the greatest democracy in the world? Every person is going to be known. Everybody's going to end up with a chip in their arm. What are you guys talking about? This is a direct violation of our Constitution. This is wrong. So that's what I would say at every meeting. And eventually we disbanded and nobody ever called me again.
So you were the voice of reason in an otherwise a group of people that essentially wanted to become Big Brother.
They wanted to become Big Brother. They wanted to make money becoming Big Brother. They wanted to develop these national
and yet they were looking
systems
for grants to do so.
Well, that was part of the committee. The committee was like, there were government grants to do this, and we're like, wait a minute, this is wrong.
Okay.
And imagine this. If the greatest democracy in the world creates a national identity system, well, that also means that the worst countries in the world will be quick to follow. The whole world will then become every person in the world. And this means that your politics, your religion, your medical conditions, everything, any purge by any government leader who has low integrity, he could just figure out, okay, where are the people whose sexual preferences I don't agree with, or whose religious preferences I don't agree with, or whose politics don't agree with me? Oh my God, the prospect of this is horrifying. So I did everything I could. So it was, it doesn't matter if it was Trump or Obama, or W or anybody. I would serve. Listen, we're a democracy. We elect a president, and when it's over, historically, our job is to come together as Americans. Congress is supposed to work together, and I still believe in that. So I believe that I'm American first. So
what is the state of social media today in your mind? We've got Twitter, we've got Facebook. I'm on both of those. I haven't joined any of the other ones. But, I mean, when you take a look at the landscape, what are your thoughts on it?
I think Snap is in trouble. I think Twitter still has issues on monetizing. President Trump has made Twitter maybe more popular. A lot of people are on Twitter because they think they have to be, but they don't make any money off of us really. Facebook is in decline, and and that's clear. But they're not going to tell us that.
Has it reached critical mass? What is it? 2.2 billion users? Or products, I should say.
Well, critical mass they achieved a long time ago, right? In terms of critical mass,
or have they hit the ceiling? I mean, is there 4 or 5 billion people left on Earth that just don't want to have anything to do with it?
Well, I think Facebook is. I really want to be clear. I believe Facebook is in their decline, but with all the money they have, they bought WhatsApp, they bought Instagram. They've purchased companies. They tried to buy Snap. So, they're nimble that way. They buy companies, they move in directions. What's really interesting is they were about to move in the direction to create this smart, another box in your house that you would talk to, and...
like the Amazon one and the Google one.
Right,
yeah.
right, exactly. But Facebook, we know they're just scary because then they would hear everything in your house. Now, they've temporarily shelved that. They were going to announce this in May. So they've temporarily put that on hold because the world is going, well, we know you're just going to listen to everything and you're going to put it into my data packet and you're going to have every possible iota of information about me by listening in my house all the time even when I'm not talking to your box. So here's what I believe. Facebook is in decline. I believe Snap is in decline. WhatsApp should be in decline because now that it's come out that Facebook tracks people everywhere and people use WhatsApp not to be tracked. I think there's an opportunity, and we've been building, I've been saying common sense is going to come back. Here's why these companies became so strong, like Facebook, Google, the data companies. Because first of all, we want our viewers and listeners to understand those are data companies. Facebook's not really a social network. Stop thinking of it that way. Facebook is a data company. And there's been a creep looking over your shoulder for years, and he's still there. And he's still there watching everything that you do, but you can't see the creep. If we could see, if they actually had to put a creep looking over your shoulder, spying on you, we would all tell Facebook to get the heck out of our lives. Facebook is now, the delete Facebook movement is real. Mm-hmm. I always talk about Facebook as though we're in a relationship with them, because we are. And now we have irreconcilable differences with Facebook. It's like a relationship gone bad where trust has been broken so many times. I'm done, but I haven't seen my next boyfriend or girlfriend. I haven't yet seen my next social network that I'm going to run to. And now there's MeWe. And so what we see is people now are willing to leave Facebook because they have irreconcilable differences with it. And they finally see, oh, there's MeWe. Thank God MeWe's here. And so they go, a new relationship they can trust, a fresh start. And it feels great, as you know, because we're doing the right thing. We're run by great conscious leaders who really are privacy advocates and social media experts. And the technology is great. And we have so many people in there so active.
Why hasn't another company come along in the past 6, 7, 8, whatever it is, years since Facebook came around? We've had a lot of competitors come and go. You talk about Friendster and a whole bunch of others that I remember. And until MeWe...
That was long ago.
Yeah, it was long ago. But until MeWe, nothing has really... maybe they've been bought out, or maybe that's the issue. But why hasn't another alternative to Facebook succeeded?
Facebook is a platform. It's a very deep and wide platform. There's a lot of great services that people love. And so if you're going to compete with Facebook, you really have to build a platform. Building a platform takes years to do it right so that it'll scale properly, so that it's privacy. We have a privacy bill of rights inside our site. We have a poison pill in our privacy policy, so we can't mess it up. So there was one...
Explain that
or two.
Real briefly, the poison pill. What is that?
So, two things. Right on our homepage, everybody can see we have a privacy bill of rights. It's for our members. We don't track you personally. You have all the control. You get your news feed is timeline. We don't have any ads. We don't use facial recognition. I love that one. It says your face is your business. We don't use facial recognition. It's not our business. So all these great things. We don't manipulate anything. We don't have an algorithm that could manipulate anything. So, and then in our that's our privacy bill of rights. So you understand the rules of engagement at MeWe. It's you. It's your life, not ours. In our privacy policy, we have a very simple clause that says if we ever change anything in our privacy policy, we will tell you and at the same time give you a link to delete your account if you don't like the changes. Now here's what I say. If Facebook had that, they would have been out of business 5 years ago. Imagine that every time they made egregious changes to their privacy policy, they had to give us a link to say, oh, you don't like that? Well, here's this button, delete your account, take all your content with you.
Yeah.
So,
and you could take all your content with you from MeWe anytime?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. That was actually, we built that really early.
Yeah.
Because Facebook still makes it really hard, and it downloads in a way that you can't just upload it somewhere else. Facebook makes everything really hard to get off.
I tried that actually for the first time a couple of weeks ago. I downloaded it, and number one, it was a little scary at 5-6 years of pictures and things. How much time I've spent on Facebook. It's like, oh my goodness, I could have started 4 businesses in that period of time. But that's good to have because it's your own data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they download it in such a way that it's, no one has yet built a tool to make it easy to download Facebook data and upload it to somewhere else. Of course, we would build that tool if we could, but Facebook really works hard to make it virtually impossible to download and upload.
So, going back to Zuckerberg in front of Congress a couple weeks ago, one of the things that raised an eyebrow for me was he said that they don't sell data. Yet Cambridge Analytica somehow got, 88 million of their users with all of their data and all their information. How does that happen if they're not selling data?
Oh, God. Mark Zuckerberg really did his best. He was really well, what we call PR trained.
Okay.
To give deceptive answers. And so, one of the ways he explained that away was he was like, well, we take the data brokers and the marketers and we bring them into the site and we just find out who they want to target and then we let them target all those people. But in fact, Facebook has been, selling and giving away data. In this breach, it's not really a breach at all.
Mm-hmm.
A researcher. Oh, you're a researcher, so here's data, personally associated data of 88 million people. You're a researcher, no problem. You can have access to all this data. We're not even going to charge you for it. So imagine how many people they've done that with, so Facebook does that, and so he kind of lied about that.
Yeah.
And then that researcher sold it to Cambridge Analytica, and Cambridge Analytica has probably spread it around the world. Their class action lawsuits trying to get that data back, and that's also not going to work because that data now is everywhere.
The barn door's open. It's done.
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly. And then also, Facebook does its own experiments. Remember, people have forgotten. It was only like 2 years ago that Facebook did an experiment on about 1 million people, testing their emotions, and they manipulated their news feed so they would only show you negative, depressing comments from your friends and family. They would filter out all the positive ones, and then another person, they would only show the positive comments, and they would see how it would affect your emotions, how it would affect your life, how then you would be posting. They did this to people, unknowing. They manipulated you, and actually, this is what they do every day.
So their users were their guinea pigs.
Absolutely, and still are.
And with real life situations.
Right.
Real postings.
Right, they really are. But they still are. Remember, Facebook is a data company, so Facebook is an algorithm. Every day that algorithm is watching what you're posting, who you're talking to, what the topics are,
right,
all for the purpose of getting you to spend money. That's the only thing they care about, and getting data about you so they know how to market to you.
Okay.
And part of what they've claimed is that they give data that's disconnected from you to the data brokers. Data is a huge business, but in fact, it's been proven 3 to 4 pieces of anonymized data about you can be put together to find your identity.
A lot of people refer to Facebook as our town square today. Okay, and I think that's why it has become so popular and has evolved to the point where it's ubiquitous now. Is that something that you see for MeWe eventually to replace that with the privacy? Because I do enjoy going on and seeing pictures of my cousins that I haven't seen in 10 years. Maybe they're living overseas or whatever it is, where their kids growing up, right? It is a place for people to go, share ideas, converse as freely as I guess you can with the privacy that's available on there. Is that an intent for MeWe?
That's actually the real intent of MeWe. So MeWe was really imagineered with that we're around our kitchen table, but we're around the world. Our friends, our family, people we want to stay connected to, the hobbies and things that we love, people that are involved in that, strangers that we don't know who we have common interests. So remember, we talk about privacy, and sometimes people misunderstand this. Privacy means you have control. Privacy means not being spied on by a corporation, and that your data doesn't end up in who knows whose hands, governments, data brokers, marketers. Privacy doesn't mean you can't connect with people. Privacy means you connect with everybody you want to connect to, and we're not in the way, and we're not manipulating your news feed to decide, oh, you want to see your brother's post, but you don't want to see your best friend's post, or we're going to show you your brother's post because we know from our data you're more likely to buy something if you're engaging with your brother than if you're engaging with your friends. This is weird, but that's how the algorithm works. So that's how Facebook's algorithm works. MeWe doesn't have a manipulation tool. That's why the Canadian government gave me an award as Ambassador of Privacy by Design. That's why we have our Privacy Bill of Rights. That's why I'm recognized as one of the leaders of the privacy movement worldwide. It doesn't mean that we hide out in a closet. It means that we live in our world as broadly and as socially as we want without this creep looking over our shoulder and spying on us, called Facebook or Google.
Well, that's important for us to know. Another question that came to us from one of my MeWe contacts, she's also a member over at Ricochet, we'll just call her Elizabeth. She was asking, is there a way for us to know about how many members are, and I'm sure it's changing every day, it's growing every day, that MeWe has?
So right now we're growing about 100,000 a week.
Wow.
So yeah, it's great. It's great.
A week?
A week. Yes.
That's incredible.
A week. Well,
did you see a big number shift over after the congressional hearings?
During. And it had already started because we got hot in Australia. A few months ago we were like the #1 downloaded app in Australia. So it just kind of started. Then we were hot in Brazil. We see these.
You're
sparks.
the #1 trending social media app, if I'm
Google
read
Play
correctly.
Store, right? In the Google
I've
Play
got mine
Store.
on my phone. In fact,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Over 500,000 downloads
It's
now.
really
just on
easy.
Google.
I have to be honest with you. A lot of the social media stuff that I've seen out there or other apps make it really complicated and clunky. This thing is just flows really. It's very intuitive.
Thank you. And there's a reason for that. We've been able to engineer this for 5 years. We also have an enterprise division, so we've been able to take thousands of feedbacks, and we read feedback every day.
Okay.
Our top team does. Our feedback manager, our executives, our CTO. I look at it. We're looking at it every day because our members are our customers to serve. They're not products to sell. And that's a key distinction. If you're my customer to serve, and you're why I'm in business, then I'm going to take care of you. If you're your data, and then every decision at Facebook, your data, every decision they make is about how can I get more data from you. Their emojis are data. Can you imagine that? Their emojis are data. So they were designed to be data.
Oh, that's scary. So going back to Elizabeth's question, because of the privacy restrictions that you place, and you're not a public company, and you're not looking to be bought out by the big boys, will folks know the numbers behind MeWe? How many members there are?
Well, we're closing in on a couple million right now.
Okay.
And we had originally projected a couple million by the end of the year. We're now projecting 10 to 20 million by the end of the year. So what's great about that is so many people are coming over now.
Yeah.
That and in our industry, like 1 million is the line of demarcation.
Yeah.
And now we're well past that, and now it's 100,000 a week. And so what we see is that when you come over, like you said to me before we started the tape, that you're already connected to a few hundred people.
Yeah.
Now that's cool. And that's what it's about. But it's also, you can come over and not know anybody on MeWe, but then you just look through, we've got like 50,000 open groups. Any hobby that you love, anything that you love, as I said, I love cars, I love music, I'm in some
and
coffee
I love your
groups
car. Don't need to mention it, but just I'm going to be thinking about that one for a couple of days. And for folks on Ricochet that are listening to this, Percival started up a Ricochet group on there. The community, the online community that we all belong to, that this will be posted. So the groups are fantastic, and I'm really enjoying. And I do more scrolling than actually writing.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
Just seeing what people are talking about, what's going on, and the memes that are out there. They're hilarious, and it's.
We have a lot of meme groups too. It's great. It's a lot of fun. My newsfeed is the same thing. I watch a lot of groups, and you don't have to insert in there that much, but soon you'll be able to emoji in the chats in the groups, because also our group technology is not only posting, every group has a chat too. That makes us really different. Our technology is better.
Yeah.
So there's not only a group newsfeed that you can comment and post, and you have a great permission model, so group owners can set permissions for their members and things like that, where they can reshare or not, whether they can invite people or not. But every group also has a chat.
And folks can use pseudonyms as well, correct? I mean, you don't have to be out there if you've got politics or whatever it is that you want to hold back.
We don't do identity verification.
Yeah.
That's just too strange to us. It's like, you know what, if you want to, be anonymous, because if you're doing something bad, you're off.
Right.
So I don't care, I don't want to validate you, but if you're a star like you are, and you want a validated account, we'll do that for you.
Is there an F-list star? I'll call it a star. But so let me ask you, and this is going to be more or less my last question for you, and it's another topic altogether on this, because this isn't anything new. You've been building MeWe now for several years, and you're seeing, as you're building this technology focused on privacy with the idea to really contain people's rights from the standpoint of not letting people just go on and all of a sudden be sold to the highest bidder. Do you believe with Facebook, Twitter, other social media accounts that there should be regulation from the government today?
Tough question. And one of my mentors, Tim Cook, a man who I totally admire, one of the greatest
Apple CEO,
one of the greatest privacy advocates in the world, harshly criticized Mark Zuckerberg 2 weeks ago. Again, he's been fighting with Zuckerberg and Eric Schmidt for years. As he likes to say, we don't collect data on our customers. They don't need to. So is some regulation needed? There's a new law in Europe called GDPR, which is a data protection regulation. And here's what Facebook did. They did this last Thursday, they moved 1.5 billion people off their servers in Ireland to the USA so they could avoid that law. And so when you look at this going, Well, maybe there's some regulation, because really I'm a free market guy.
Right.
And so I'm really sorry to see that Facebook has become such a bad actor that we feel the need to regulate them, which is really too bad, because I really like the market to win. And I'm really a pure capitalist in that sense. And that's, MeWe is here. But maybe a little bit of regulation, just to say, listen, you just can't do this. You can't let a Cambridge Analytica get 88 million people's data and associated with them. So the complete data packet, let's say 2,000 points of data, because that's about the average of what they have on a person, 2,000 points of data on you, affiliated with you, so that people can target you, manipulate your mind, because that's what happens. Your critical thinking disappears when you're manipulated online, like at Facebook, when their algorithm manipulates you.
Right.
So, you can't critical think unless you're getting unfiltered, unbiased, your newsfeed with the people that you want to be hearing from, not the things that Facebook wants to put in your newsfeed that can manipulate and twist your mind. So Facebook is actually very dangerous because it's interfering with our ability to be free, critical thinkers. And the other thing they need to be regulated for, they didn't even get fined when they manipulated our emotions. But if they go in and they're really manipulating our emotions and things like that, there need to be regulations about that, because that's dangerous and that interferes with democracy.
So does that require an oversight committee by DC? I mean, you were on a steering committee for President Obama on privacy. Does it need something similar for that?
I'm always hesitant, because then I think about these white-haired guys in Washington.
What you saw scared you.
Well, and I'm very respectful of our elected officials on either side of the equation, but
I'm not.
They don't. Well, that's
You meet enough of them, and you start to realize these guys aren't that smart. Many of them. Now there are some brilliant ones,
right?
And you should hold them to high esteem. But many of them, holy cow,
they don't understand technology. First of all, when you
saw the questions to Zuckerberg.
Well, because they don't even use email. It's sort of like, okay, how are they going to regulate? And this is when I give my talks, because I talk around the world about privacy and social media and everything, and I say, okay, now we have a problem. How do we fix this? We can't have the white-haired guys in Washington regulating technology, but here's the problem. Technology doesn't have a moral compass. Technology doesn't have ethics. Facebook has no ethics. They have an algorithm that's only interested in your data and making as much money from you as possible, and then overlaid with a political philosophy that's really strange, and then they censor people for that. It's completely, Facebook's weird. And people have said to me, Mark, when MeWe becomes very popular, Facebook is just going to look really weird to people. MeWe is really like a common sense, the way we built it. So I'm in this conundrum. There's some kind of regulation is needed, and I haven't figured out, and who's supposed to do it, and how do we watch, but Facebook shouldn't be transacting our data the way they're doing, but they're data companies, and I want them to stay in business, doing what they do so we can show the world what's right, but I don't want them to be messing with our brains anymore.
It is a conundrum. And as somebody from a libertarian perspective, you don't want big government coming in and controlling thought and speech and content. And at the same time, going back to the town square issue, there's... but
there's a law called privacy. Our Constitution protects our privacy.
Yeah, but don't you sign that away when you go onto Facebook?
Well, unfortunately, you do. That's right. And people need to really understand that better. But
who
Facebook
reads terms
wasn't
and
supposed
conditions?
To. Nobody. And actually, one of our advisors made a great movie called Terms and Conditions May Apply, Cullen Holback, an award-winning documentary film. But Facebook, remember, Facebook violates every day their own terms and conditions.
Right.
That data was never supposed to leave. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, in Mark Zuckerberg's open letter, that the ad that they ran, the New York Times and a few other publications, he promised, we're going to tell you about all the other data breaches. Oh yeah? Well, if they tell us about all the other data breaches, this one involved 88 million people. What about the other ones? 1 billion people? 500 million people? People are going to run away from Facebook if we learn the truth, because the truth is ugly. They're a bad company, and they've sold us down the river. And here's good news. MeWe is here.
Yeah.
We've been building it for years. We're the real deal. We have the right people.
And you've gone through your second round of financing? You just completed that?
Actually, we've actually now just completed our fourth round of financing.
You're at 4?
Yeah, we've done high net worth individuals. We raised about $10 million. So our first round was $600,000.
Yeah, friends and family.
Second round was $1.2
mostly
million.
You.
Mostly me, right? There's my retirement
I mean, you
account.
got more skin in the game, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is your baby.
But that doesn't scare me, because when you do the right thing,
Yeah.
and for all our listeners, a lot of people, we wake up in the morning and we're passionate about what we do because we feel like we're contributing to society, we're doing something good. It's actually called conscious capitalism.
Yes.
And one of our board members is Raj Sisodia, who's the founder of Conscious Capitalism, the worldwide movement. And so he's worked with Whole Foods, Southwest Airlines, the Container Store.
Right.
Raj is a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
And his politics aren't right, left, or middle. His politics are ethics. Just do the ethical thing, and everything will work out perfectly. So, here we are. We've raised $10 million from high net worth individuals from, I don't ask what people's politics are.
Right.
We don't have a litmus test for our employees. Hey, what are your politics? That's BS. We're here to serve the people. And, I'm a communication technologist. I love communication technology.
What is the ultimate goal for MeWe?
We want to really become a major social media company doing the right thing. There's a possibility for us to become a public company. Imagine becoming a public company doing the right thing.
Yep.
So,
if Mark Zuckerberg called you today and said, hey, Mark, here, let's sit down and have lunch. I want to write you a check. How many zeros would it take for you to sell it to Facebook?
There's not enough zeros, but this is a great question, because how flattering, right? Thank you, Mark, for offering us, $1 billion for our company. Now, the world knows what we're worth, so we can do an IPO and say, okay, we're worth $1 billion. So, this is an ethical conversation, and I watched what happened with WhatsApp, and their CEO, who promised his members that, an acquisition by Facebook wouldn't change their company, it changed them entirely. And you've seen my reputation. So, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not some entrepreneur going, oh, there's a huge opportunity here. I'm going to create the next Facebook, pretend I'm all about privacy and, get everybody, then I'm going to sell it to Facebook. No, I'm one of the inventors of social media. Social media was not invented so that you would become data. Social media was invented so that you could communicate, because we live in the world now.
Right.
We live everywhere. So that you could communicate with your friends and family and people you want to connect with, around the world, not being spied on. So that's what we've done. And, for me, privacy is, if when I'm done on this earth, if people say he helped restore privacy for people around the world because technology is how we communicate now, that's all that I need to know.
It's definitely needed, and I wish you nothing but success and luck. I'm enjoying watching the company, and I'm again a member on MeWe, and folks can find you where?
On MeWe. And on Twitter.
And
I'm at Mark Weinstein on Twitter.
Mark Weinstein on Twitter and on MeWe.
On MeWe, because you can
we
find
connected
me.
on MeWe.
Right.
And so check it. And so any other anything exciting coming up in the near future that you want to share with us? I don't know if you're...
Well, there's lots of exciting, because we're building software all the time, so we're listening to our members. So as I said, pages are launching.
Yeah, I'm excited about pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to use that.
Yeah,
so
we are
put
too.
Whiskey Politics up on there as well.
We're looking at the crypto world, of course. The crypto world is really interesting because we're leaders in privacy and crypto technology. Blockchain technology is all about privacy, decentralized storage, decoupling.
I've noticed a lot of stuff on blockchain on there. You've got a lot of different groups on there.
Yeah.
Folks.
So I'm looking at this very carefully.
Right.
Because we want to decouple you from your data, so there's no way anybody can ever get at your data and connect it to you.
That's great.
Yeah. We're taking this straight into the future.
Mark, wish you much success. Thanks for joining us today on a beautiful day here in Malibu, and we'll be looking for you in MeWe. And folks, you can find us at whiskeypolitics.net, on your favorite podcast application, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, of course at ricochet.com. And you might be watching us very soon at America's Voice Television, the network that is on, currently I believe it's on Dish, and they are talking about getting over to DirecTV and Comcast, Apple what is it called? Apple TV and Roku. So should get that down pretty soon before I announce it. Talk to you all real soon. Thanks again for joining us. Dave Sussman here. Thanks again to Mark Weinstein at MeWe.
My pleasure.